Hello, friends and enemies. I got this a while ago and have only just now gotten around to reviewing it because I just saw the first episode of HBO's Last of Us TV show and I thought it was pretty good. And then that reminded me that I had this and I needed to review it. So today we are looking at The Last of Us Part 2 Joel and Ellie 2-pack from NECA. So this is Last of Us Part 2. It's not the first one, so you are getting an older Joel and a, how old is Ellie in the second one? She's like late teens. She's not a child anymore. And you know, I actually would have preferred a 2-pack from the first game just because I prefer a more innocent child Ellie. If you haven't played the first or the second game, I would advise that you not watch this review because I could be dropping casual spoilers here and there without even thinking about it. So first off, let's look at the packaging. It's got a really nice two-door cover going on here. And then on the inside you get both Joel and Ellie and you get some promo shots of the figures. But I do like this presentation right here. You've got a still of Ellie from the game. Then on the back you have kind of a clinical overview of what they come with and what they can do. Some more promotion shots. Includes interchangeable hands, axe, machetes, rifles, knives, pistols, backpack, bow, and arrows. And then they've also included credits for people who have worked on the figures. Warning, choking hazard, not for children under 3 years. And then it says ages 17 and up. I assume that's because of the rating on the game. I don't know. If you play with this and you're below the age of 17, you will turn into a mushroom zombie. And that's just the way the cookie crumbles. You get a bit of a backdrop, a nice misty forest, and you can definitely use that as like a diorama piece for your figures. So the first thing that struck me about these figures is that they don't really look super close to Joel and Ellie. The likenesses just aren't really there. Yeah, they look close enough to be recognizable, I guess. If you tell me this is Joel and Ellie, I'll be like, okay, yeah, it's Joel and Ellie, but right off the bat, I don't really see it. I think Joel, for one, is a little too tan. He's a little bit too red in the face. Yeah, I think for Joel, he just needed a lighter skin tone because he's looking very red. I know he's meant to be old and weathered, but he just looks a little oxidized. And then Ellie, yeah, just something about the likeness is a little bit off. Her eyes are a little bit off too, but she's got the eyebrow scar. That's a neat touch. And another thing that's cool with Joel is that you can see that his beard extends down to his neck where he hasn't had a chance to shave properly. And that's cool because that's not really something you see on a lot of figures. You know, he's old, he's out doing stuff. He doesn't have much time to groom himself super well. I also love that he's just denim all the way. Like, if you take this jacket off, he's just like denim shirt and denim pants. But of course it's NECA, so really great sculpting on the clothing. The likenesses might not be all there, but the face sculpts are still really nice. He's got a black eye. It's appropriately bloodshot and swollen. Really nice detail on the back of the clothing. Some weathered work boots. I am laughing at his choice of wardrobe though. They've even sculpted in this split in the sleeve where his undershirt is showing through. Really neat little details. So Ellie is also well sculpted. She's got a little bit less wrinkles in her clothing, but that's made up for with the paint job. She's very dirty and bloody. You've got a blood stain on her shirt. This overshirt is just super ratty and torn. Her pants are frayed in places. See right there. Really nice wrinkles here toward the end of the pants. Some weathered sneakers. Got a tiny little bracelet, and you've got her tattoo that is covering up her scar. And I can kind of make out the outline of a scar here, but it might just be like a defect in the plastic instead of like an actual intentional thing. I also like how off balance her outfit is. The shirt is sloping to one side. This overshirt is tucked into the back of her pants. Just some really nice asymmetry there. So I want to go over some articulation before I go over the accessories. Let's look at Joel first. Good range of movement on the head. I do kind of wish that his jacket was a separate piece that you could just take off and just have his shirt underneath, or maybe have different arms with different shirt types on them. But this is fine. Chunky joint at that shoulder. Arm goes around. Kind of a gauntlet style elbow there. Twist and up and down on the wrist. Ooh, a little bit of crunch. A tiny bit back, but he's got a lot of swivel at that belt. Oh, his legs can't go too far because he's an old man. Out to the side pretty well though. And they can go back a decent amount. Not much flex on the knee. And just the tiniest amount of rocking on the ankle. But we do get some swivel on that. So yeah, not too hardcore in the articulation department for Joel, but Ellie might be a little bit better just because she's smaller and thinner. She moves around a lot more easily. She's also got less fabric on her. Hers are a little bit harder to move though. She's stiff. Arm goes around, small elbow joint, up and down and swivel on the wrist on her as well. She has a twist. I think the crunch in her is just her legs moving. So yeah, she's got more mobility than Joel does. Still limited on the knee for her though. So yeah, it's NECA articulation. I do like these figures. I really, like I said before, would have preferred them from the first Last of Us. The first game. I don't know. Ellie was more charming in that game, and the second game she devolves a little bit. And I don't mean that from a writing standpoint or anything. It's just, you know, she's not a kid anymore. She's older. She's got a lot of trauma. That's what happens, you know? You're a kid, who's done nothing wrong, then you turn into an adult who does everything wrong, and that's just life, you know? So, moving on to accessories, we get a backpack, and it is appropriately weathered. Some really nice details on there, some pins and patches, buckles, and the straps are thin, but they're rubbery, so putting it on her is not a problem. Backpack is very important. That is where you store all your zombie fighting stuff, and also your human fighting stuff. This one has a little hole in it. I wonder if you could put something in it. Stick the machete in. That works. I wouldn't store a machete like that if I were you. I don't recommend it, but it can be done on this figure. About this. Yeah, you can put some stuff in there. So I really like that. Backpacks are an important part of Last of Us. Let's just go ahead and get through these hands because that's the boring part. We've got 2 extra pairs of hands for Joel, and they are both holdy hands, and it's very easy to differentiate his hands from Ellie's. His are larger and darker. So we've got more various grip hands for Ellie. One for shooting, one for gripping a small weapon, and one for gripping a larger weapon. And I believe the ones she has attached now are for holding a rifle. But I could be wrong. Speaking of rifles, you get 2 of them. It's a gun. That is my favorite thing in games when you have long-range sniper weapons. I'm definitely a stealth sniper for sure when it comes to games. And these are just some really nicely made accessories. I love the grain on the stocks here. It looks so good. And even that is appropriately weathered. There's some pits in it, some grooves. Very nice weapons. You get an axe. Important for cutting off fungus zombie heads. Wood grain on that is cool too, and you've got some wear on the head here. 2 machetes. This one is very rusty and used. Do not cut yourself with this or you will get tetanus big time. This one looks like it's got a little bit of an ink blot where maybe the paint in the factory ran, but everything in The Last of Us is kind of old and dirty and grimy and runny anyway, so that doesn't bother me. You get 2 very tiny knives. A shiv, which looks like it's made out of bandages and maybe part of some scissors. I think that's how you made shivs in the first game. And then Ellie's switchblade. And these are very pokey, so be careful. You get 2 more guns, small sidearms, a revolver, and you know, whatever this is, a pistol, a Glock? I really need to brush up on my weapon terminology. But then again, do I? I don't really care about weapons, and I don't need to care. So I've got that luxury. And then you've got a nice wood bow with a real string and arrows. It is nice that there are arrows because I was looking at the Marvel Legends Hawkeye and Kate Bishop, and they came with bows and quivers full of arrows, but no single arrows to shoot off. So they just look kind of silly holding their bows with nothing to shoot. So I think the hands that she has attached on her in package are actually for the bow and arrow. You slip the end of the arrow into this hand, and then you can kind of ease the string in behind her fingers. I'm not really sure if you can gear her up to get a full drawn bowstring pose, but she does look good with it just like this. And I like that she can actually position the arrow kind of, instead of it being just an arrow that's just there and there's no real way to position it on the bow. Joel, let's give him his weapon. He's about to shoot. Ellie's hands are a little bit more forgiving. Joel's are a bit stiff, so it's difficult to wrap them around his weapons. He's also difficult to stand up, and I don't know if that's just because his jacket is really heavy or what, but Ellie stands up okay. Am I going to get people angry at me if I say I want an Abby figure? Am I surprised that there is no Abby figure? No, because that character was very divisive. But you know what? I liked her. And of course she would come with a golf club. We all know that. But I really feel like that would round out this set. Of course you've got Joel and Ellie there, the father and daughter duo. But without an antagonist, I don't know. I just wish there was like a cordyceps zombie that we could pit them against, or Abby, some kind of third figure for them to unite against. They do not want to stand up well. If you position them in your display, you might need some blue tack to hold them down, because even when I think I've got them in a good pose and they're standing, they'll just fall over randomly. And I really don't know if that's my fault or just some unfortunate physics. So here they are compared to some NECA monsters in the form of Universal Monsters / TMNT Leo and Boris Karloff's The Mummy. They seem a little small compared to The Mummy, but Leo looks okay, I think, because normally I'd say he's supposed to be smaller, but he is a monster in this form. Yeah, there's a lot I really like about these figures, but also when I look at all these figures together, it kind of looks like Joel and Ellie took a backseat. Like, this project was less important than this one or this one. It just seems that they weren't given quite the same amount of TLC. And I say that, but they're still really good figures. The sculpting is beautiful. The paintwork, for the most part, is really good. I just think that what I would like to see from these is a better likeness on them and better paint on the skin tones, because I think that's kind of where it dropped off. Like, the clothing and stuff looks great, but the skin tone, the faces, they could be better. We also have a zombie Captain America that they can fight. And of course, Marvel Legends scale is going to be different than NECA scale, but zombies are shriveled anyway, right? It's fine. So, I hope you enjoyed this review. What are your unpopular Last of Us opinions? I guarantee you that whatever your opinion on The Last of Us is, it's unpopular with someone. So, likes and subscribes are very much appreciated. Comments are more than welcome, and I will see you guys on the next one.